I never thought betrayal could taste like overcooked turkey and betrayal sweet Merlot. But there I was, fork hovering over my plate, as my father slid that fat envelope across the table like it was yesterday's junk mail. Maya. Honey, he said, his voice gravelly from too many camels and not enough apologies. Your sister's been through hell. She deserves everything you've got. And just like that, the $200,000 I'd bled for, nights coding in Silicon Valley basements, weekends skipping therapy for overtime, vanished into my twin sister's manicured claws. But the real gut punch?
They didn't know it was me sitting there. Not the real me.
The body swap tech my sister stole from her pharma exec boyfriend had turned our lives into a nightmare. And I was trapped in her shell, watching her parade around in mine like she owned the damn American dream. It started 6 months earlier, in the fluorescent hell of our family home in Palo Alto, California, Tech Bro Central, where every garage births a unicorn and every family dinner hatches a grudge. I was Maya Hale, 28, the grindstone daughter who'd clawed her way from community college to a mid-level software engineer gig at a startup that promised stock options but delivered migraines. My twin, Lila, was the golden child, Vassar dropout turned Instagram influencer. All filters and fake lashes. Dating Victor Kane, the sleazy VP at Neuralink Pharmaceuticals who peddled life-enhancing neural implants to desperate execs. We looked identical, same sharp cheekbones, same wavy chestnut hair, but inside, oil and water. I built code, she built facades. The hook that snagged us both was Victor's pet project, Project Echo, a black market body swap prototype disguised as an empathy therapy device. It used neural mapping and CRISPR-like gene editing to temporarily exchange consciousnesses between compatible subjects, twins, ideally for therapeutic breakthroughs. Victor bragged about it at one of Lila's infamous pool parties, his eyes glassy on gin, whispering to me how it could fix everything from PTSD to sibling rivalry. I laughed it off, called it sci-fi snake oil. But Lila? She saw dollar signs. And revenge.
See,
our family had always been a pressure cooker of favoritism. Dad, a retired venture capitalist who'd lost his shirt in the dot-com bust, doted on Lila because she reminded him of Mom's wild college days, carefree, charismatic, the girl who could charm a room full of sharks.
Me?
I was the fixer, the one who balanced the books when Dad's investments tanked, who coded his side hustles for pennies.
Mom,
a former real estate agent turned pill popper, played peacemaker but always sided with Lila's tears over my logic. The $200,000? It was my life savings, scraped from 3 years of 80-hour weeks, earmarked for buying out Dad's failing consultancy so we could all breathe. But Lila had other plans. She'd racked up debts, designer bags, coke-fueled Vegas weekends, and Victor's Echo Tech was her Hail Mary. Swap with me, siphon my accounts, play the victim, and let the family foot the bill. The swap happened on a muggy July night, after I'd crashed at the house post-breakup with my boyfriend, Jake, another techie who'd ghosted me for a promotion. Lila cornered me in the basement rec room, Victor lurking in the shadows like a Bond villain in khakis. Just one test run. Maya, she cooed, her voice syrupy with that fake sisterly concern. Victor's implant could help with your anxiety. Imagine feeling what it's like to be free. I was exhausted, popping an Ambien, and the device looked harmless, a sleek helmet synced to our wrists via some quantum entanglement bullshit. They promised 24 hours. It stretched to eternity. Waking up in Lila's body was like drowning in perfume and regret. Her skin felt softer, her limbs looser, but her head throbbed with echoes of her hangovers, tequila ghosts, and bad decisions. I stumbled to the mirror, and there she was, my face, but with that predatory glint in the eyes, the one that said, "I take what I want." Panic clawed my throat as I rifled through her phone, texts to Victor about draining the drone sister's funds, voice memos plotting to frame me for embezzlement at my job. The betrayal hit like a freight train, my own twin, who'd shared my womb, now puppeteering my life for a quick score. But the real horror? The swap wasn't clean. Echo's neural bleed left fragments, her memories bleeding into mine into hers. I could taste her first kiss with Victor, feel the rush of her shoplifting sprees. Worse, she had access to my bank logins, my work Slack, my goddamn soul. By morning, she'd logged in as me, wired the $200,000 to an offshore account, and texted Jake some flirty bullshit to keep him on the hook. Trapped in her penthouse condo overlooking the bay, God, the view mocked me. All glittering success I couldn't touch, tried to reverse it. Victor's lab was locked tighter than Fort Knox, guarded by NDAs and armed security. Lila, in my body, waltzed back to the house, playing the dutiful daughter while I seethed in her silk sheets. That's when the revenge ignited. Not some cartoonish plot, but cold, American-style calculus, leverage, exposure, destruction from the inside. First, I hacked her life. Using her phone, thank God for biometric fuck-ups, my thumb, her print. I accessed Victor's encrypted drive. Echo's schematics were there. Buried in metadata, the swap was permanent without a counter-serum, hidden in his safe. But more damning? Logs showing Lila had tested it on homeless vets first, stealing their resilient bodies for joyrides, dumping them back broken. She'd covered it up with payoffs. But the digital trail was a goldmine. Deep betrayal?
Check.
She'd sacrificed strangers for her high, and pinned one overdose on me in her forged diary entries. I started small, controversial moves that blurred lines. Posted from her Insta as Lila, cryptic stories about sisterly love gone toxic, polls asking followers if they'd trade lives for a fresh start. The comments exploded. Twin drama trended in the Bay Area feeds, painting her as the jealous mess. She fired back from my account, gaslighting my colleagues. Maya's spiraling.
Guys.
Need space. My boss called. Worried, in her voice, played coy, sowing doubt. It was unethical as hell, impersonating her to erode her brand, but in the cutthroat world of social capitalism, who blinks first? Meanwhile, the family rift widened. Dad's consultancy was hemorrhaging without my $200,000 infusion. Foreclosure loomed on the McMansion. Mom popped more Xanax, whispering to Lila, about my disappearance. Lila leaned in, crocodile tears flowing. She's always been unstable.
Mom.
Probably ran off with that barista. The lie festered. A hidden secret I'd unearth later. Years ago, Lila had crashed Dad's Porsche drunk, killing a pedestrian, a cover-up I'd unknowingly financed with my loans. I'd taken the fall emotionally. Therapy bills piling up while she partied.
Now.
It fueled my fire. By week 3, tension coiled like a spring in a .45. I confronted Victor at his office in San Francisco's Soma district, rain-slicked streets, Ubers honking like angry geese. Posing as Lila Easy. Since I was her. I seduced the counter-serum from him during makeup sex in his corner suite. He was putty, droning about our future while I palmed the vial from his mini fridge. But he slipped, admitted Lila had pushed for the swap, not just for money, but to escape a pregnancy scare. Mine, actually, from a one-night stand she'd framed as hers to dodge. The crime I'd borne? Her bastard child. Aborted in secret, with me footing the anonymous clinic bill from our joint account. My stomach churned. This was blood-deep treachery. Back in her condo, I dosed myself, neural fireworks exploding as echoes faded. But the swap held, partial reversal only. I was stuck, a hybrid ghost, her mannerisms twitching in my stolen form.
No.
Wait, reversal meant trading back. But Lila had anticipated, rigging the device to lock us in a loop. We'd ping-pong until one broke. That's when I escalated, leaked echo docs to a Wired journalist. Anonymized but laced with Lila's vanity pics as breadcrumbs. The story dropped. Pharma Air's twin terror. Body swapping scandal rocks Silicon Valley, and Victor's stock tanked 20%. He blamed Lila. She blamed me. From my body. Posting rants that made her look unhinged. The family dinner was the fuse. Dad summoned us both, me as Lila, her as Maya, to the dining room. Crystal chandelier casting shadows like prison bars. Mom had cooked her famous pot roast, a desperate bid for normalcy, but the air hummed with dread. I arrived first, her Louboutins clicking on hardwood, heart pounding in this foreign chest. Lila slunk in late, in my favorite jeans, smirking like she'd won the lottery. Dad cleared his throat, envelope in hand. Girls, we've got a crisis.
The house.
It's going under. Maya, he nodded to her. You've always been the rock. This $200,000 from your savings? We're redirecting it to Lila's Fresh Start Fund. She deserves everything after what you've put her through. Her?
Me?
You mean? The words landed like slugs. Lila's eyes, my eyes, gleamed with victory. But I saw the crack. Fear. Mom nodded weakly. It's only fair. Maya. Your sisters suffered enough. Suffered? While she stole my life. The controversy boiled, giving away a daughter's hard-earned cash to the parasite, all because blood's thicker than fairness. In that moment, I snapped. Not violently, no guns blazing. Just pure, dark American grit. I stood, voice steady in her sultry timbre. Suffered? Like the families of those vets she tested on? Or the pedestrians she killed and pinned on my guilt? Silence shattered like fine china. Dad's face purpled. What the hell are you? But I was already spilling. The swap. The files. The pregnancy lie. Lila lunged, but I sidestepped, her claws raking air. You think you can play God with Echo? Victor's rotting in cuffs right now. Thanks to my tip. It was a bluff. He wasn't arrested yet, but the seed planted. Mom gasped, clutching pearls. Dad wheezed, dropping the envelope. Lila snarled. You're crazy. Lila, everyone knows you're the screw-up. The argument erupted. A maelstrom of accusations, decisions that would haunt headlines. Should I expose the family rot, dooming us all to tabloid hell? Or swallow it for blood's sake? I chose truth. Controversial as a whistleblower's memoir, dialed 911 mid-scream, claiming intruder to buy time. Then live-streamed from her phone as cops swarmed. Lila bolted, but not before I whispered. Game's over.
Sis.
I built this empire in code. You'll crumble in chaos. As sirens wailed, the twist uncoiled like barbed wire. Dad collapsed, not from shock, but a hidden aneurysm, years of stress I'd unknowingly exacerbated with my support. Mom confessed, sobbing. The pedestrian crash? She'd covered it, bribing witnesses, because Lila was her baby. But the reversal? Lila hadn't initiated the swap alone. Victor?
No.
It was Mom, desperate to fix Lila's debts with my stability, who'd slipped the Ambien dose. The betrayal layered deeper. My own mother, sacrificing her daughter for the other. Handcuffs clicked on Lila as she thrashed in my body, screaming denials. I watched from her shell, the counter serum burning in my pocket, reversal possible but tempting to withhold. Let her rot in my life as it crumbled, job loss. Jake's disgust. The world's judgment. The $200,000? Seized as evidence. But the house saved by my anonymous wire from Lila's slush fund. Victory?
Pyrrhic.
As paramedics wheeled Dad away, alive. Barely, I realized the darkness. Revenge hadn't freed me. It mirrored her. In the end, happy or tragic, you decide. I swapped back alone that night, alone in my skin but haunted by hers, staring at the bay's black waters. Freedom's price? A family in ruins, and a sister who taught me the ugliest truth. Sometimes, the monster wins by making you one too. The weeks after the dinner blurred into a fevered dream of depositions and detox. The kind of American justice that chews you up and spits out a settlement. I was back in my body, finally, after a black hat surgeon in Oakland's underbelly jury-rigged the counter serum with parts from a defunct DARPA project. Cost me Lila's entire wardrobe collection. Pawned on the sly. But damn if it didn't feel like shedding a snake's skin. My reflection in the cracked motel mirror showed bruises from the scuffle, her manicure marks on my throat. But my eyes? Mine again. Steel gray and unyielding. Not that vacant blue she'd faked so well. Lila rotted in county lockup, charged with fraud, identity theft, and manslaughter conspiracy from those vet tests. Victor flipped like a bad poker hand, testifying for immunity, spilling how she'd blackmailed him into Echo's beta runs. She said it was harmless, he whined on the stand, his Armani suit hanging loose like his morals. The press ate it up. Silicon Valley's Frankenstein twins, who wore who, splashed across Vanity Fair. With my byline interview, carefully edited to paint me the victim hero. But inside, the neural bleed lingered. Phantom itches where her memories clawed. I'd wake gasping, reliving her coke highs. The thrill of that first swap test on a vet named Tommy. His confusion as she joyrode his war-torn frame through dive bars. Family? Fractured fault lines. Dad survived the aneurysm, but rehab turned him into a ghost, for drips and regret. Muttering about my girls like we were still kids fighting over Barbies. Mom? She lawyered up, claiming dementia onset. But her emails I'd hacked pre-swap told another tale. Meticulous notes on dosing me. Fantasies of swapping back the prodigal. The hidden secret she buried? Not just the crash cover-up. But Dad's affair, Lila, was the product. Not blood. Adopted in utero swap story bullshit Mom spun to cope.
No.
Wait. The twist within the twist. Mom's pregnancy scare confession at dinner? Projection. She'd aborted Dad's love child years back, forcing me to carry the guilt of Lila's fabricated one to balance the scales. I'd suffered her sins, coded through my breakdowns, while she played saint. Revenge phase 2 kicked in subtle, tense as a server rack overheating. Controversial? Hell yes, I doxed Mom's pill dealer on a dark web forum. Anonymous tip leading to a DEA raid that flushed her stash and her enablers. Watched from afar as her PDA circle goes to her. The queen be dethroned in suburbia.
Dad?
I funneled anonymous consulting gigs his way through my network, but laced with NDAs barring family contact. Let him rebuild alone, pondering the daughter he discarded. It was mercy wrapped in malice, giving him purpose while starving his heart. But Lila? She was the core rot, mired in power plays even from a cell. Her lawyer, a shark from her influencer slush, petitioned for bail, arguing neural duress, claiming the swap scrambled her ethics, making her my puppet. Gaslighting gold. Videos surfaced of Maya, her in my body, ranting online about sister stealing my soul, edited to frame me as the aggressor. Followers split, free Lila camps springing up, decrying tech witch hunts, while Justice for Maya truther pods dissected Echo's patents. The debate raged on X. Threads dissecting if body autonomy trumped fraud, if twins shared one soul. Dark. Tension. Trolls dox my safe house, forcing a move to a Bernal Heights walk-up, where fog muffled the city's pulse. I countered with my own moxie. American ingenuity dialed to 11. Enrolled in a UC Berkeley night class on neural ethics, irony's knife twist, while moonlighting as a freelance coder for anti-corp watchdogs. Used the payout from Neuralink's Hush settlement, 6 figures. Irony noted, to fund a startup, EchoGuard. Open source detectors for neural hacks. It gained traction. VCs sniffing around, but I kept it lean. No boardroom vultures. The power dynamic flipped. Lila's empire crumbled. Sponsors fleeing her tainted brand, while mine bloomed from the ashes. Climax brewed at the preliminary hearing. 3 months post-dinner. In a stuffy San Jose courthouse reeking of bureaucracy and bad coffee. I testified. Voice steady under fluorescent buzz. Detailing the swap's mechanics, neural sync at 98% compatibility due to our twin DNA. The bleed that let me access her offshore accounts, I'd frozen them. Donating chunks to vet charities in Tommy's name. Lila glared from the dock. Still in my old hoodie. My hair greasy. Eyes wild. She's lying, she shrieked when I dropped the bomb. Her diary entries, digitized and time-stamped, confessing the vet murders as necessary collateral for perfection. The courtroom gasped, controversial as a Supreme Court leak. Her lawyer objected. Fabricated, but forensics nailed it. Metadata tied to her IP during the swap window.
Mom.
In the gallery. Fainted dead away. Reviving to whisper. I did it for us. The judge called recess. But not before Lila lunged across the bar. Spitting. You were always the weak one. Maya. I made you strong. Her words echoed the bleed. A dark mirror. Had the swap unearthed my own buried rage? The part of me that craved her chaos? Post-hearing, the revenge peaked in shadows. I visited her in lockup, plexiglass between us, her face a warped reflection. What do you want? Hero, she sneered. But crack showed trembling hands, the addict's itch. I slid a burner phone under the table via a guard palm greased with settlement cash. One call, I said. To Victor. Tell him the full truth. How Mom dosed us both that night. How the affair baby was his. The twist reversed again. Victor wasn't her mark. He'd known. Used Echo to parent the swapped fetus in trials. A eugenics fever dream. Lila's eyes widened. She'd been the pawn too. Her moxie manufactured. She made the call. Chaos cascaded. Victor's suicide note leaked, implicating boardroom cronies in FDA bribes. Neuralink imploded. Stock to pennies. Execs scattering like roaches. Lila's charges upgraded to conspiracy. Bail revoked.
Me?
I walked free. But the darkness clung, nights replaying her memories, questioning if I'd orchestrated the swap subconsciously, a Freudian fuck you to Mom's favoritism. As fall leaves turned the peninsula gold, I stood at Dad's grave. Wait.
No.
He rallied, but the aneurysm left him vegetative, a plug I forgot to pull in the haze. Tragic? Or mercy? The debate simmered in my mind, a tense standoff with self. Happy ending? I'd reclaimed my name.
My code.
But the family vault was empty. Echoes of betrayal humming like bad code. Lila wrote from solitary. We're the same now. Maybe. In America's grind, revenge isn't catharsis, it's recursion. Looping you darker. Winter gripped the bay like a vice. Fog so thick it swallowed commutes, turning freeways into ghost runs. I'd upgraded to a loft in the Mission, graffiti-splashed walls, to carry us humming below, trading suburb safety for urban pulse. Echo Guard hit beta. Users scanning for neural implants at raves and boardrooms. My face on TechCrunch as the swap survivor. Checks rolled in. Enough to buy back the Porsche Dad loved, but I let it rust and impound. A monument to roads not taken.
Jake?
He circled back. Apologetic texts about misunderstanding the drama, but I ghosted. Revenge on the small scale. Reclaiming my solitude. Lila's trial loomed like a storm front, prepped in a downtown firm where lawyers chain-smoked vapes and billed by the gasp. I consulted pro bono, feeding them dirt, her burner calls to Victor post-swap, plotting to pin the vet deaths on me via forged psych evals. The hidden secret unraveled further. Turns out, Mom's cover-up extended to fudging our birth certificates. Lila and I weren't full twins, but half. From Dad's affair with a lab tech during Mom's infertility treatments. The swap metaphor? Mom's lifelong delusion, projecting her losses onto us. I'd borne it all. Her therapy referrals masking guilt. My coding marathons funding her denial sprees. Controversial decisions piled like cordwood. Should I testify against Mom too? Who'd plea bargain down to accessory? I did. Voice cracking on the stand. She dosed her own daughter for a sister's sins. The jury, diverse slice of Cali dreamers, from baristas to coders, leaned in, faces etched with that uniquely American mix of empathy and schadenfreude. Media swarmed, CNN panels debating family over law, ethicists crying, eugenics echo chamber. Dark tension peaked when Lila's defense trotted out a shrink, claiming the swap induced dissociative identity, me as her evil twin manifesting. Gasps rippled. I countered with my own expert, a Stanford neuroprof who'd scanned my brain post-reversal, residual engrams. Yes, but agency intact. Maya acted from violation, not invention. Offstand, the UM coiled tighter. Anonymous threats, free Lila fanatics hacking my site, flooding forums with deep fakes of me confessing to the swap initiation. I beefed security, a PI tailing shadows. But paranoia bled into dreams, Lila's voice whispering code I'd written, her highs fueling my hacks. Power shifted when I dropped the final leak, a redacted echo log showing Mom's neural profile as the original test subject. Her dementia, a swap side effect from an early trial. Victor had romanced Lila to access family DNA.
But Mom?
She'd volunteered, trading sanity for perfect daughters. The reversal gutted. I'd suffered not for Lila's crimes, but Mom's madness. Her mistake gifting us this hell. Revenge climaxed not in court, but a midnight meet in Golden Gate Park, under cypress trees dripping mist. Lila's lawyer brokered it, closure session, but I smelled setup. She arrived shackled, flanked by feds, Her eyes, once mine, hollowed by fluorescent jail pallor. "You win," she rasped, chains clinking like bad jazz. But the ploy, a hidden recorder, baiting me to admit coercion. I played along, then flipped, palmed a micro SD from her sleeve, slipped during hub protocol. Loaded with plea docs she'd forged to swap blame back. "Cute," I said, voice low. "But I already mirrored your drives. Every sin's archived." Feds pounced, entrapment reversed. Her lawyer disbarred. As they hauled her, she spat truth's barb. "Dad's not vegetative. Mom pulled the plug last week. For you."
Lie?
Or the darkest twist. Hospital logs confirmed. Mom. Post-arrest. Visited alone. Signed the DNR. My fault? Indirectly, my leaks accelerated her spiral, pushing the mercy kill. Betrayal's echo chamber. I'd avenged Dad's favoritism, but orphaned myself in the crossfire. Controversial as euthanasia's gray zone, it sparked op-eds, revenge's collateral, when justice kills kindness. Back in the loft, tension strung me taut as guitar wire. EchoGuard demos drew crowds, hackathons where kids in hoodies probed for soul thieves, but success soured. Jake showed at one, contrite with craft IPAs, confessing he'd known about Lila's debts. Warned her off me. Thought it was sister stuff. I forgave. No, leaked his emails to his firm, tanking his promo.
Petty?
In America's merit myth, betrayal's currency demands interest. Spring thawed the fog. Trial verdict dropping like a gavel guillotine. Lila, 25, to life.
No parole.
Mom, house arrest. Her empire of lies crumbled to a one-bedroom in Daly City. Dad's estate? Split even. My half buying a cabin in Big Sur, Solitude's bunker. But the bleed persisted. Her memories surfacing in code bugs. Forcing therapy where shrinks probed. Is revenge you? Or her? I dodged. Focused on EchoGuard's V2, global scans. Partnering with EU regulators. Yet darkness lingered. A tense undercurrent in every pitch. Followers messaged, "You're a monster too." Debatable ending brewed. Happy in autonomy. Tragic in isolation. As cherry blossoms dusted the Presidio, I stood at the overlook, bay bridging past and void. Lila's last letter, swap back if you could, burned it. Freedom's code, unbreakable, but forever forked. Summer scorched the valley. Wildfires painting sunsets apocalyptic red, mirroring the inferno I'd stoked. EchoGuard exploded, acquired by a Google rival for 8 figures. My name etched in startup lore as the neural nemesis. I cashed out partial, funneling proceeds to a foundation for swap victims, therapy, legal aid, memorials for Tommy and the forgotten. The cabin in Big Sur became sanctuary. Redwoods whispering code I'd yet to debug. The bleed. Now a low hum. Her echoes fading but etched like scar tissue. Family remnants scattered like ash. Mom's house arrest ended in a psych ward commitment. Her dementia deemed swap-induced psychosis. Visits were one-way mirrors. Her ramblings about trading daughters a loop of regret. Dad's vegetative vigil? I pulled the plug myself. Post-trial. In a sterile ICU booth, controversial mercy. Ethics board cleared it as compassionate, but tabloid screamed, vigilante daughter. The secret she'd chiseled into me? Forgiven in the unplug. But not forgotten. His will left me the consultancy. Revived under my algorithms. Turning profit without a soul crushed. Lila's appeals dragged. A legal hydra, new lawyers claiming echoes, experimental status, voided intent. I testified again. Remote from Big Sur, detailing the power imbalance. Her as influencer queen, me the invisible coder. Her moxie weaponized against my grit. The judge, a grizzled ex-prosecutor with valley scars, saw through. This wasn't play, it was predation. Sentence upheld. But the twist reversed one last time in her final motion. Docs revealed Victor's seed wasn't barren. Lila carried his child during the swap. Neural bleed transferring the pregnancy to me briefly. A ghost fetus eyed miscarried unknowingly. Chalked to stress. The crime I'd borne? Her heir. Sacrificed for the con. My body the vessel for her escape. Controversy crested in a 60-minute special. Me. Windswept on the cabin porch. Unpacking the layers. Betrayal's onion. Peeling to reveal mom's orchestration. Victor's eugenics. Lila's desperation. Was it worth it? The anchor pressed. Silver hair gleaming under lights. I paused. Waves crashing below. Revenge? It's American as apple pie and arsenic, sweet. Then sick. But truth? That's the real swap. Ratings soared. Debates fracturing dinner tables, hero or harpy. Forums lit with polls, 60% justice served, 40% family executioner. Dark tension eased into uneasy peace. But threads tugged. Jake married a barista, karma's wink, his invites to the wedding ignored. I dated sporadically, a bioethicist who geeked on my code. But the bleed soured intimacy. Her memories intruding like static. Broke it off. Choosing solitude's code over coupled bugs. Climax echoed in an unexpected ping. Lila's warden-approved vidcall from Chowchilla. Her face gaunt. Institutional green walls framing defeat. The baby's yours. Maya. Victor's logs, conceived pre-swap. But Echo glitched the carry.
Lie?
DNA test I ran post-call confirmed. A son, adopted out quietly by the clinic. Now 18 months in foster limbo. The reversal gutted. Revenge's child. Innocent collateral in my war. Controversial choice. Pursue custody? I did. Anonymously funding his care. Visiting incognito as Ann M. His eyes, mine. Hers stared back. A mirror to the monster we'd birthed. Ending? Debatable as democracy's vote. Happy. Echo Guard Global. Saving souls from swaps. Cabin filled with foundation interns. Laughter cutting fog. Tragic. Family vault sealed. Bleed a lifelong debug. The boys visits a tether to her ghost. As autumn winds stripped Big Sur Oaks. I coded V3, reversal protocols for the willing. Lila wrote, trade places again? I replied, no. But visits? For him. Mercy in the Matrix. In America's tense tapestry, betrayals bold, secrets swapped, revenges rendered, we're all echoes, looping toward light or abyss. You choose the thread.